The Spokane County Sheriff and City Police Chief are calling on the community to help curb an increase in gang violence. We'll let you know what they're asking the rest of us to do to be part of the solution.
Him with the gun he's just protecting his property.
A Chattaroy property owner was shot mistakenly after calling sheriff's deputies to investigate a burglary last night. What we know today.
What was your purpose of firing that shot?
Decided to save my own life, to get other individuals to back away from me.
Today, Tyler Rambo shares his account of when he fired a gun on 4th of July in Coeur d'Alene 2 years ago. He's now on trial for attempted murder and aggravated assault.
Tracking a few isolated showers tonight and again tomorrow, but overall mild weather. Your work week forecast coming up next.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here for KREM 2 News. I'm Whitney Ward.
And I'm Tom Sherry. New at 6 o'clock tonight, the Washington State Department of Labor and Industries has opened now a formal investigation into Durham bus services. This comes after a COVID-19 outbreak that left one person dead, 28 others infected with the virus, and nearly 60 Durham staffers in quarantine in just 1 month. As of today, Durham says there are 9 people left in quarantine, 4 of them being Spokane public school drivers. L&I says it's looking for possible safety violations. Now, we spoke with Durham's Vice President of Safety last week in an interview with our Morgan Trow. Kevin Kilner says the company is now reevaluating their COVID-19 protocols and guidelines.
You already said that you eliminated that workplace where people might be passing in. What other modifications have you made?
The reinforcement of our mask policy and making sure that we're aligned with the expectations of the school district as well. And then also pushing with moving forward with the Department of Health's recommendations for lowering windows on the school buses as well, provided the temperatures are warm enough to do so.
Now, after we first reported the outbreak, Spokane Public Schools sent out an email to families with an outline of the protocols in place for all SPS bus riders. Some of the new modifications were supposed to already be in place, like having those windows open as much as possible. L&I also said this investigation is a result of media coverage like ours right here on KREM 2, as they had actually received very few complaints. Durham says they are now cooperating with the investigation and working closely with the state. Labor and Industries now has 6 months to complete this investigation under state law. In the meantime, the Spokane County Sheriff and City Police Chief are calling on the community to help curb an increase in gang violence. Today, they announced most of these crimes are being committed by juveniles.
KREM 2's Amanda Rowley explains what law enforcement think will address this problem.
Right now, gang violence in Spokane County is occurring more often than usual, according to local law enforcement. The Spokane County Sheriff and City Police Chief believe the answer to stopping this trend is for the community to step up and mentor our youth. So far this year, Spokane Police Department says the number of shootings have gone through the roof.
Compared to this same time last year, we've had almost 4 times as many shootings and drive-bys than we did last year.
Both agencies say most of these crimes are being committed by juveniles, who adult gang members say are out of control.
We've talked to some of the older gang members, and they have made it very clear that these younger gang members are not playing by any kind of understanding or let's say, if there is such a thing, rules associated with this lifestyle.
Sheriff Ozzie Knezovich implores gang members and witnesses to give law enforcement the information they need to solve these crimes and stop the violence. They add stopping the cycle also starts at home, which is why they ask parents to direct their children away from this lifestyle.
Don't be embarrassed to come forward and ask for help.
Chief Craig Meidel says local resources that can help include ESD 101, Spokane Public Schools, and the MLK Center. But they are asking the community to create more local mentorship opportunities.
What I need is input and buy-in from the business capital side of it, but more importantly, I need the community itself to reach out to the kids and go, we're done.
Chief Meidel adds by the time law enforcement gets involved, it can be too late for these juveniles. But he says that is where mentors and programs can help make a difference and stop this cycle. Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
Well, neighbors are speaking up about a Sunday evening shooting just north of Chattaroy.
It was a Spokane County Sheriff's deputy who shot a man that had previously called 911 for help. Our Morgan Trow is at the scene with the latest and has those details tonight.
The sheriff's office says a man is in the hospital following an altercation with a deputy Sunday evening. The Spokane County Sheriff's Office says a property owner reported a theft Sunday at 11 in the morning to Crime Check. A deputy came to do a prowl check 8 hours later and somehow ended up shooting the owner that called it in.
We've never had any issues with any kind of crimes up here.
Brad Robertson was watching TV when his daughter called and asked if he heard a shot being fired. No stranger to guns, he didn't think twice, but went to check up the road anyway.
I got in my car and I went, and then there was police all the way up to the corner. We finally found out that it was him that got, the owner got shot. And it's like, wow, that's crazy.
Robertson had just spoken to his neighbor about his break-in. The sheriff's office says the property owner had reported a winch, tools, and other items stolen from his shed.
From what it sounds like, I don't know if it's true or not, but it sounds like it was just a mistake.
Officials say the man was armed and on the property when a lone deputy arrived that evening. Corporal Mark Gregory says he is around 90% sure that an officer was in uniform and in a marked car. They say the man confronted the deputy, and shortly after, the deputy reported shots had been fired.
There is one patient, unknown extent of the injuries. A tourniquet has been applied.
Robertson says you don't expect to be shot on your own property, especially not by law enforcement. He is now doubting if he should even call officers in an emergency.
It's like, makes you think twice now. It's like,
we are still waiting to hear about the man's condition, but the deputy that shot him is now on leave. Reporting in Chattaroy, Morgan Trow, KREM 2 News.
Also today, 19-year-old Tyler Rambo shared his account in court of when he fired a gun in Coeur d'Alene 2 years ago. Rambo is now on trial for attempted murder and aggravated assault after a 4th of July shooting at City Park. Rambo told the jury he got into a fight with another man, Jawan Anderson. He admitted to carrying a revolver as well as some extra rounds with him, he said, for general protection. He says after he and the man Jawan started fighting, other people then joined in and started kicking and beating him. Rambo says while he was lying on the ground, he pulled out his gun and fired it into the air, he says, to get the group of people to back off. That's when he says he and Jawan fought over the gun.
He was yelling, don't shoot me, run, something to that effect.
What were you saying?
I was saying, I'm not going to shoot you, let go.
What was your intent at that point?
To get the hell out of there.
Why?
Because I didn't know if they were going to attack me from the side again or from the rear again.
Was it ever your intent to shoot Jawan?
Not at all.
Was it ever your intent to shoot anybody?
No.
The defense attorney also called Rambo's mother and 9-year-old sister to the stand today. Both were with him that day prior to the shooting. His mother says she didn't even know Rambo had brought a gun with him to the park. All right, as we switch gears now away from the headlines to weather, very spring-like temperatures basically across this entire week. And Tom is saying we're going to see sunshine and more of those mild temperatures. So what does it look like, Tom?
Well, I think we're going to see temperatures in the upper 40s for the first part of the work week. And then as we get towards Friday and into the weekend, should climb into the 50s. We'll look for a few snow showers at times overnight. But again, with a high tomorrow of 48, it's not going to stick around. Most of the week will be partly cloudy, even some mostly sunny days. And as I mentioned before, temperatures climbing into the low 50s by Friday into the weekend. Right now, we're at 42 degrees. Wind is out of the east at 5 miles per hour. You can see that we've got some clouds over on the western horizon and then some blue sky directly above us. We'll look for an overnight low of 30 degrees, 48 the expected high on your Tuesday. As we look ahead to the weekend, as I mentioned before, warmer. We'll look for 53 on Saturday and 51 degrees expected on Sunday. Of course, we'll have your 7-day forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Also, reminding you that Congress is close to finishing President Biden's top priority, a giant coronavirus relief package. Coming up, the most important things you need to know about the package and how to know if you qualify for those direct payments.